to welcome in Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Joel Howard A. Thank you. You may have a seat. We want to welcome you to this very important program, which should mark a fundamental shift in the country's demographic. As we release the official census results. And as you can see, we've been joined by senior officials of the government of Liberia, led by Her Excellency, Madam Vice President. But we also have the Minister of Finance, Minister Samuel Twe Jr., the Minister of Information, Lejehu Julius Rainey, the Minister of Youth and Sports, D. Junior Wilson, the Minister of Internal Affairs, Rani Shalif, the Senator of Great Coup, Senator Nimini Batikwa. We also have the UN Resident Coordinator as well, Madam Christine Omutoni, and a host of other reps, including UN Rep Badisha Pellier. I just hope I got that right. We have as well EU Ambassador Lauren Delarue, and a host of other reps from the different UN missions, embassies, and other dignitaries in Liberia. At this point, we'll call up the Liberia Council of Churches to do for us the invocation.
May we stand, please. Today is a day of celebration, and so I will also sing the refrain, praise the Lord, let every hear his voice. Praise the Lord, let every hear his voice. Praise the Lord, let the people God, thank you that we can assemble as a people of a country called Liberia. And we can assemble with our friends and our loved ones, our partners, to give you the glory for great things you have done and continue to do. As we have come, Lord, to announce provisional results of the census, we pray, Lord, that you will take complete control of this ceremony. That everything that will be done here will be done to your honor and to your glory. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you so much. At this point, we will call up the Deputy Minister for Economic Management at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Oh, okay. So who's going to do that instead? Do we have a representative? He's not too faring so well, so unless we have a representative, we'll move on to the next. Chitam City. Chitam City should represent She thought Sadie should represent the Deputy Minister for Economic Management and Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Augustus.
Honorable Vice President, Excellency, members of the diplomatic corps, Honorable Minister of Finance, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure today, and on behalf of the government of Liberia, now to present the provisional results of the national 2022 population and housing census, which was sponsored by the government of Liberia, and with the support of the development partners. We are very grateful to the partners and those who made the census a very success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give her a bigger round of applause, please. At this point, we'll call up the Acting Director General of LAGES, Mr. Lawrence George, to do for us a statement and presentation of provisional results of the 2022 National Population and Housing Census.
Your Excellency, Madam Joe Howard Taylor, Chief Dr. Joe Howard Taylor, Vice President, Republic of Liberia, Honorable Samuel D. Tue Jr., Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Chairman of the Board of LAGES, Board of Directors of LAGES, and Chairman of the Census Steering Committee, members of the National Legislature, represented by Senator Nemini Batikwa and Representative Frank Foko, Your Excellency Christina Umutuni, United Nations Resident Representative Coordinator, Madam Bidisha Pila, UNFPA Country Representative, members of the Diplomatic Corps, development partners, UN heads of UN agencies, chiefs and elders of Liberia, distinguished invited guests, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. We have assembled here to announce and receive the provisional results of the just ended National Population and Housing Census. Pursuant to Article 39 of the Liberian Constitution, which states, the national, I quote, which states, and I quote, the national legislature shall cause a census of the Republic to be taken every 10 years, unquote. The Liberian government, through the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, with technical support from the United Nations Population Fund and development partners, conducted the 5th Population and Housing Census, utilizing the first digital technology in consonance with the 2020 rounds of census. The project, which was slated to be undertaken in 2018, was delayed due to several factors, including but not limited to the national governance transition in 2018 and the global COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, amongst other events. However, the government of Liberia, inspired by its drive to make informed national developmental decisions through the acquisition of relevant quality data, conducted the census in phases. The pre-census activities, including the preparatory and planning phases, started in 2018, with the documentation preparation, followed by the cartographic and geographic planning and mapping exercises. This exercise produced a total of 13,835 enumeration areas across the country. We also conducted pre-tests of the census instruments as well. The project used geographic, geomapping, and spatial data and survey frameworks, census monitoring dashboards, and computer-aided interview copy technology in all of its implementation. As a comprehensive digital census, it leveraged the available technology to improve efficiency in its operations and enhance the quality of the data collected. Cascaded training were conducted from July to November 2022 for 120 master trainers, 593 training of trainers, 13,835 enumerators, 34 institutional and special population enumerators, 2,727 supervisors and geomappers. The census night declared on the 10th to November 11th was intended to commence the enumeration. However, the actual enumeration started on November 14th, 2022, due to technical and other issues that lasted up to the point of the commencement. The enumeration continued until December 18, 2022. Due to the large number of non-enumerated areas, a map-up exercise was commissioned from December 27 to the 7th of January 2023 in 8 counties, including Monrovia. A total of 13,800 enumerators, 34 institutional and special enumerators were trained and deployed nationwide. These enumerators, as stated, were supervised by the stated 2,727 trained and experienced supervisors. There were 160 census officers as district serving in each district, and 15 county census coordinators. The completeness of the National Population and Housing Census, we are proud to report, is 97% of the projected population, which is an internationally acceptable achievement. The 2022 Housing and Population and Housing Census employed a de facto population enumeration method. The results. Highlights of the 2022 National Housing and Population Census are as follows. We are pleased to report to you, Madam Vice President, Chairman of the Board, officials of government, distinguished ambassadors, members of the diplomatic corps, our prelates, our chiefs and elders, our citizenry. Liberia's population as at now is 5,02,448. 5,248,621. With male accounting for 50.4%, which is 2,644,450, and the female accounting for 49.6%, 2,604,171%. The intercensal population growth rate is 3.0 with an average household size of 4.4. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, according to the latest Act, only aggregated data is reported, which is an international norm for the census dissemination. All personal details are protected and removed from publication and data sets to protect confidentiality of respondents. Please note that a presentation will be made in few minutes to give you detailed highlights of the population census. We are grateful as an institution, ladies, and as a government, to all our development partners. We cannot name all of them, all of you, but we are grateful to you. The Swedish government, I'm going to get in trouble. The Irish, the US, the World Bank, the EU, the One UN system, all the other partners who made meaningful contribution to ECOWAS, who made meaningful contribution towards the census. We are grateful. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when the census reached a state where we could no longer continue, it was the collective efforts of the government and its development partners, especially the United Nations Population Fund, that provided the courage to pick up the broken pieces and continue. As a consequence of this, today we have what would not have been the results of the 2022 National Population and Housing Census. The encouragement brought to the table by all made even enumerators who were disenchanted to put nation first ahead of payment. We like to say to our enumerators, supervisors, district officers, county officers, our colleagues in administration, logistics, and all who participated, thank you. Some of you did so with blood gushing down your faces when you were attacked in locations where you were assigned. Some of you lost personal effects. Leeches could not pay you back, but we thank you for all you've done for your nation. We say to the board of directors, Minister Samuel Tue, your encouragement, the secondment of staff, and other personal interactions with leeches made possible this day. We say to members of the board, thank you for your encouragement. We say to the Vice President, Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, thank you for your interventions. At times, you left your busy schedule to appear on talk shows to allay the fears of our compatriots. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia's census is not only a developmental tool, but should be seen as one that will assist in mending many of our problems. For example, our geographic mapping results can now assist the government in identifying houses, so we can now have a defined postal system out of this exercise. Because the census is purely digital, we now have the means of linking with other agencies of government, especially the National Identification Registry, the National Elections Commission, and others, to share database that will begin a one-stop shop database system for all, including passports and others. We'd like to thank you all. Liberia is moving ahead. We are progressing. There were those who felt that the census should not have been taken. We say to you, thank you for your encouragement. There was those who abstained. We also say to you, thank you for your encouragement. We have had a lot. The mopping exercise was an initiative that was unforeseen. And during this period, there were special teams. And at head of the team was the Crusader for Peace. The Crusaders for Peace commenced the community mobilization and media outreach that brought out, that assisted in bringing out the population. We also like to thank our staff and those seconded from the Ministries of Finance and Development Planning and Public Works for your contribution. We say to you, what you've done for your country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and we now have the team to do the presentation.
I want to thank you, Mr. George, for your presentation. We now know that the new population of Liberia, as per the provisional result, we have an estimate of more than 5 million. But the team here will be giving us detailed information about where a specific set of demographic, talking about women, men, and all the different details. They're going to be doing that shortly. As they set up, we just want to thank Mr. George and all of you. But before they come up, we'll call up the folks from the Crusaders for Peace to do for us another beautiful rendition as our team prepares to give us detailed information about how the outlook of our new population statistics look like.
We
I think we already sat down, but we just wanted to recognize our host. You know, we are here at the Monrovia City Corporation, and the city mayor is in our midst. He just joined us, Mayor Koji. We want to say thank you and welcome. We also want to welcome the Minister of Labor who just walked in, Minister Gibson, as well as the Minister of Gender, Minister Willamita Sedi-Tar. And, you know, I don't want to fall prey to recognizing people. The president of the University of Liberia is also here. You know, there are a host of different officials of government. We want to say welcome to all of you. At this point, we'll call up, the rep from UNFPA to do the special presentation. Oh, okay. Mr. Wilson?
A small breach of protocol. We have indications that the mayor has to appear before the legislature. Therefore, he requests to do.
Her Excellency Madam Joy Howard Taylor, Vice President, Republic of Liberia, members of the High Table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased this morning on behalf of the technical team to present the provisional result of the 2022 population and housing census. The 2022 National Population Housing Census is the fifth in series of census conducted in Liberia in modern times. The first census was conducted in 1960, the second 1974, the third 1984, the fourth 2008, and the fifth census is this census that we are about to provide or present the provisional results. As indicated by the Acting Director General, pre-census activities started since 2018 with geographic planning, the demarcation of the country into enumeration areas, testing of the census instruments, pre-tests, the pilot census, and so forth. There were cascade trainings across the country, starting with 120 master trainers, 593 training of trainers, 13,835 enumerators, and 2,727 supervisors. This training took place between July and November of 2022. The census instrument includes tablets, maps, questionnaire that were sourced or procured locally and internationally. UNFPA provided technical and financial support to the census in presence of Dr. Bolaji, the CTA, and we have development partners that we acknowledge at the end who provided motivational support, technical and financial support to the process. The actual census enumeration commenced on the 14th of November until the 18th of December 2022, and we commissioned a mapper exercise that lasted up to the 7th of January 2023. The fifth census is the first digital census to be conducted in Liberia. As usual, censuses are occasioned by operational and logistical challenges which our census is not unique to. Other countries experience similar situation we were faced with. The census thematic report will be available by May of this year. A detailed analysis of all of the thematic areas that will be presented later to you. And the 5th population census was conducted in accordance with the United Nations technical recommendation for the 2020 rounds of censuses. The 5th census matched both regional and international standards and is credible, and the results have statistically verifiable footprints. We are planning a post-enumeration survey to be conducted within 3 months to determine or to evaluate the coverage and the content of this current census. So as indicated, 13,835 enumerators were deployed. 34 additional enumerators were deployed for institutional enumeration. When we say institutional enumeration, we're talking about prison compound, boarding school, military barracks, police barracks. So there was a special team that had that responsibility to enumerate those institutions, including special population, disadvantaged youth. 2,727 supervisors were deployed, 160 district census officers, and 15 county census directors spearheaded the field work of the census. So we targeted 5.4 million people. We were able to reach 5.2 million people, and this confirmed to all of the projections we see across. The Population Reference Bureau, which is a renowned source, projected Liberia population to be 5.3 million. The World Population Dashboard that is provided by UNFPA globally estimated Liberia population to be 5.3 million, and Microtrends also estimated our population to be 5.3 million in 2022. So these are our population numbers. Monrovia accounts for the highest proportion of our population, almost 2 million people, followed by Nima County. Nima and Monrovia constitute almost 48% of our total population. Nima is followed by Bon County. Bon County is followed by Lofa, Margibi, Grand Bassa, Grand Jida. The lowest is River Cess, and then Bapolo. So this is a pattern. If you have seen the 2008 census, they follow similar pattern. The only change we have is River Cess coming last instead of Grand Cru. That's the only change in position. But all of the other counties follow similar pattern. Next. For our population growth rate, our current population inter-census growth rate is 3. Babulu has the lowest growth rate. River G, Grand Cru has the highest, and Monrovia is at 3.4. Next. So the inter-census growth rate is similar to other countries. If you look at Ghana, Ghana is 2.1, Guinea is 2.4, Cote d'Ivoire 2.5, Tanzania 3, Liberia 3, Mali 3.2, Sierra Leone 3.2, and Uganda 3.2. So it's consistent with best practice. Inter-census growth rates are normally not above 4. They are usually from 1 to 3 and almost 4, but it's unusual for you to have inter-census rate to be more than 4 unless there is a migration, influx of people that will influence the population. So in 1962, our population was 1,016,443. That increased to 1.5 million in 1974, and it increased to 2.1 million in 1984, and then 3.4 million in 2008, and currently 5.2 million. The the annual growth rate between 1962 and 1974 was 3.3. It dropped to 3.4 in 1984. It declined to 2.1 in 2008 and has increased to 3.0 in 2022. Next slide. So this is the trend. We are increasing gradually. Next slide. So our population doubling time, our population as a country will double in 23 years. That is 2046. And this has a lot of implication for infrastructure, roads, health facility, schools, public utility, waste management. So as we plan, as we release the census results, we need to think about budgeting for infrastructure as our population continues to grow. Because within 23 years, our population will be more than 10 million people. Next slide. So male accounts for 50% of the population. So relatively, the male population and the female population are equal. Female is 49.6 and male is 50.4. So relatively they are the same. And this is compatible with the 2008 census. Male and female were the same. So this is not only unique to Liberia. If you look at Mali, male is 50.1, female is 49.9. If you look at Cote d'Ivoire, male is 50.4, female is 49.6. If you look at Sierra Leone, male is 49.2 and female is 50.2. Next slide. So the sex ratio is an important indicator for demography and for further analysis. There are two types of sex ratio. Sex ratio at birth and general sex ratio. The sex ratio indicates the divide or the distribution of male and female within the population. So in 2008, the sex ratio was 102.3. Currently, the sex ratio is 101.5. This also conforms to other regional estimate or rates. So if you look at Cote d'Ivoire is 101.2. Mali is 100.5. Ghana is 97. Sierra Leone is 96, and Cote d'Ivoire and Equatorial Guinea is even more than us. Next slide. Average household size. The average household size is 4.4. It has declined. In 1984, it was 6.1, meaning 6.1 persons were eating from the same pot in the same household. In 2008, it reduced to 5.1. And currently it's reduced to 4.4, which means that our family size are gradually becoming smaller because of modernization, because of other factors, and so our population, as development comes in, family size has to reduce because fertility also is a function of family size. As fertility starts to reduce, family size will obviously reduce. So the county with the lowest family size, I think, is Bomi, and the highest is Grenku and Rivergy, 5.3 and 5. Sano is also 5. The whole Southeast is 5.5. Average household size in selected African countries, Ghana is 3.6. Cote d'Ivoire is 3.6. Liberia is 4.4. Sierra Leone is 5.6. Mali is 5.8. Next. So the population distribution by rural urban. In 2008, urban population constituted 46% of the population. Currently, it has increased by 5%, and the urban population is now 52%, which means that our urban cities are gradually expanding, which has further implication for what I've said previously. Waste management, we have to think about how we manage waste. In fact, our urban cities increased by more than 1 million people between 2008 and 2022. Other countries with high urban population includes Nigeria 53, Cote d'Ivoire 52, Ghana 57, and the Gambia 63%. Next. So the density map did not change much. The one on the left is the 2008, and what is on my right is the 2022 density map. But if you observe, all of the southeastern county, with the exception of Maryland, are sparsely populated. And the counties in central and northern region are moderately dense. But what changed on the 2022 map is that Bomi is a little bit densely populated compared to 2008. But the other counties remain the same. But Monrovia is the very densely populated city or county. It increased from 1,500 plus person per square kilometer to 2,500 plus person per square kilometer, which has implications for other things. Next. So, population by nationality. Relatively, the foreign population did not change. But if you look, the Nigerian population increased by more than 150%. The Guinean population increased. Where we have reduction was in the Sierra Leonean, and then Eastern Africa. The regional population declined, maybe because of COVID, but there are countries that increased. The Burkina Faso population increased from 211 to 4,131. That is alarming, and we need to think about what is happening. From 200 to 4,000 plus Burkina Faso. Next slide. Next step, we present the provisional results to the National Legislature. We are recruiting subject matter specialists to analyze the data and produce the thematic report. We will conduct the post-enumeration surveys to determine the census completeness, coverage, and content errors. Produce, and then lastly we'll produce and disseminate the final census report by May of this year. Next. These are the thematic reports. We'll be looking at administrative report. We'll be looking at population size and composition. We'll be analyzing housing condition and characteristic, fertility, mortality, nationality, migration and population redistribution, poverty dimension, labor force and employment, disability and special population, education and literacy, gender dimension. We want to look at gender in all of these analyses. Gender and fertility, gender and mortality, migration and gender, agriculture and gender. So there's a whole team on gender dimension. Then we look at agriculture, we look at population projection, where will our population be in the next 50 years, projection for health, projection for education, and so forth. And then health and sanitation, youth and adolescent, and then economic activities. Next. We want to acknowledge in a special way the World Bank, the Swedish ambassador or the Swedish embassy, Irish Aid, USAID, UNFPA, and UNICEF. Next. We also want to recognize the President for the unprecedented commitment to the census. This was the highest government commitment to census since the Republic. We also want to recognize the Vice President who motivated the team and went to visit the team and encouraged us and had a hands-on daily on the daily workings of the census. We also want to recognize the Finance Minister who was always there every day, even up to 12 midnight, to ensure that the census result is available. We want to recognize the acting DG. Every day there's demonstration and the tension is on him for payment. It's not easy to cope with the stress of payment and the census, so we want to recognize it in a special way. the Crusader for Peace, Judy Andy and the crew. We want to recognize you. We want to recognize all of our county coordinators, our county census officer, led by Alfonso, where he's the spokesperson and they did a fantastic job. Our supervisors and enumerators, we want to recognize them in a special way. And those who open the doors to our interviewers, we want to recognize you in a special way. All of the Liberians who open the household for interview and provide a useful information for planning, we want to recognize you, including all of our key stakeholders. Next. Thank you so much.
I want to thank you for a brilliant presentation. At this point, we'll call back up the Crusaders for Peace as we prepare for remarks by the different dignitaries here. We'll call up the Crusaders for Peace to do for us a cultural performance. Can we give another bigger round of applause to the Crusaders for Peace? Thank you. At this point, we'll call up the UNFPA rep, Madam Bedicia Pale, to introduce to us the UN Resident Coordinator, Christine Umotoni.
Thank you very much. We stand here at a significant milestone for Liberia, the publication of the provisional results of the 2022 National Housing and Population Census. A census is the most. On my side, I really would like to thank all of our partners, the government of Liberia, our donors, the technical teams in LISGIS and UNFP who worked tirelessly, our field census teams, and most importantly, I think the people of Liberia for your commitment and support to the completion of a successful census. But as we've heard a lot of numbers, the purpose of the census is never just the numbers. Sustainable development cannot be achieved without ensuring that all women, girls, and young people, including men and boys, enjoy the dignity and the human rights to expand their capabilities, secure their reproductive and health rights, find decent work, and contribute to economic growth. Developing policies and investments to secure that future requires that governments know the size, the sex, the location, and the age structure of their present and future populations. Countries with the greatest demographic opportunity for development are those which are entering a period in which the working age population has good health, good quality education, decent employment, and a lower proportion of younger dependents. This census provides us with that data, and we are incredibly proud to have been part of this significant milestone for Liberia. And we really do hope that the data will be used to realize Liberia's demographic dividend, because it really is a dividend. But to share more about this census, what the data means for Liberia, and our commitment to this as one UN, I would like to introduce our new resident coordinator, Ms. Christine Umotoni. A few words about our RC. Ms. Christine has served as UN resident coordinator in Mauritius and Seychelles right before coming here. She's coordinated the UN's work there, represented the UN Secretary General in a multi-country setting. She's also served as the UN Resident Coordinator, Humanitarian Coordinator, and UNDP Resident Representative in Eritrea. Prior to that, she was the UNDP Country Director in Zimbabwe between 2009 and 2012. She's also worked with the government of Rwanda in various capacities. She's been the Rwandan ambassador to Uganda, to Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, the EU, and the Vatican. Before I conclude and invite her, one very special fact which she's allowed me to share about her, and this is important for census and birth registration. It's Christine's special day today. It's her birthday. Very happy birthday to you. We're delighted that we can launch the census and offer you as a birthday present. But I welcome you now, Christine, to come and give your remarks.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Your Excellency, Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, my dear sister, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of both Houses of Legislature, traditional and religious leaders, senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, international partners, the UNFPA representative, colleagues, heads of agencies, dear UN staff, private sector, civil society organizations, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
It means I was counted at birth. I like one of UNFPA's quotes, which says, when you don't count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't count, like you don't matter. So when you don't count, you don't count. This means that data, and particularly census, is very important to any country. It provides us the baseline for where we are and propels planning and progress, because if you know where you are coming from, it's easier to know where you are going. Basically, if you know your baseline, you can also measure your growth. Therefore, I am deeply honored to join you all at this historic event, marking the official release of provisional results of 2022 Liberian National Population and Housing Census. The release of the provisional results in a record time, just less than 2 months following the end of the enumeration phase. You can clap again. It's just a significant milestone to be proud of as a country. Personally, it's a great honor to be associated with this success in the few weeks of my assignment in this beautiful country. On behalf of the United Nations, I extend deep appreciation to the government of Liberia for leading this census. And the reason we celebrate really is that from where I come from, success breeds success. We celebrate every success, every small, big success, because it can only propel you higher. So congratulations again. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart our partners, and for those who participated in this census, they've been mentioned, but our partners in general. But for this census, Sweden, Ireland, World Bank, USAID, and ECOWAS, you really, really did a great job. Thank you so much for supporting. A big clap for them. I'm grateful to the United Nations family, particularly UNFPA, for leading our efforts to support Liberia deliver a census which meets international standards. And I say the UN family because sometimes it's an agency like UNFPA is leading something important like this, but as you can see, all the other agencies are behind this, because this means that then you know what's going on in women, in refugees, in children, in development, and all our arms of the UN family. So that's why we call it the One UN. You may lead as a head of agency in one issue, but we are all behind this issue. My greatest appreciation goes to the people of Liberia in the country and also the foreign residents for their cooperation and for allowing the census enumerators access to their homes and responding patiently to the census questions. As we have been told, the 2022 Liberian National Population and Housing Census is Liberia's first fully digital census, consistent with the United Nations global principles and recommendations for the 2020 round of population and housing census. So again, this is a milestone worth celebrating, and I have already given this report to the UN Secretary General. It's really great. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today, with major demographic shifts and increased attention to international development, accurate and timely data are more critical than ever. The unique advantage of a population and housing census is that it represents a country or region's entire statistical universe, down to the smallest geographical administrative area. Census provides much needed data for evidence-based decision making in various settings, including designing, monitoring policies and programs. Where I sit, whenever they bring me numbers, I keep telling them, tell me what it means. I cannot understand. Tell me what it means. So the analysis that follows the numbers is very important for decision makers like the president, the vice president, the leaders who are here. Often a national census is the only source of information for identifying forms of social, demographic and economic exclusion, such as inequalities by geographic location, ethnicity, religion, and other characteristics. In our drive to leave no one behind, such information is very critical. The census also provides data on the disadvantaged regions and vulnerable groups, such as the poor, the old, people with disabilities, migrants, refugees, and adolescents, young girls. So up to 107 of the 231 unique indicators of sustainable development goals, mark this, up to 107 of the 231 unique indicators of the SDGs require data for monitoring, and censuses are a vital source. Censuses also provide the basis for delivering samples of households for national surveys and production of granular baseline population data disaggregated by age and sex that support operations and decision-making in the initial response to a humanitarian emergency. No doubt, the conduct of the National Population and Housing Survey during the peace era in Liberia is significant. And I say peace era because somebody wrote, helping me with this speech, wrote in the post-conflict, and I deleted it. The word conflict does not appear in my vocabulary. Where I come from, we promote peace. So we call it the peace era in Liberia and not the post-conflict era. No, it's the peace era. The release of the provisional results means that Liberia now has reliable new and multi-sector data that we can all use immediately and going forward. With the analysis of the census data based on the various thematic areas, there will be updated demographic, social and economic data to support Liberia's development activities for tackling implementation of development goals. And I understand soon Liberia will be reviewing its poor development plan. So you can imagine the importance of this census. What does this mean among many things? And I won't take much of your time, but it means that the census will provide updated data to aid policies to reduce inequalities across various sectors of society and decision-making for future government services based on specific population needs and location and distribution. It means the census will provide data that will be used for businesses, obtaining data on business and their location. It means that the census will provide data that will be used for labor force participation, providing data on employment status. It means that the census will provide data that will be used for education, i.e. understanding the level of population literacy, identifying localities where new schools may be needed. It means that the census will provide data that will be used for health and well-being, i.e. providing data on location of hospitals, health centers, and other health facilities, providing data on maternal and child mortality, data on how long people live on average life expectancy. It means that the census will provide data that will be used for water and sanitation, improving sanitation using the information on solid waste disposal, wastewater disposal, toilet facilities, and so on. It means that census will provide data that will be used for geographical utility, identifying new locations, establishing boundaries of localities and constituencies. It means the census will provide data that will be used for identifying the current housing needs of populations. It will provide data that will be used for ICT by understanding ownership of smartphones and other ICT devices. Basically, the census is like a mirror where every aspect of the country is seen, and that will honestly help your planning and growth. As I conclude, with the release of the provisional results today, the United Nations in Liberia stands ready to continue working with the government, international partners, and all stakeholders to ensure the release of final results as scheduled is made. We also stand committed to working closely with the government and all stakeholders to ensure that the data is analyzed and used to ensure robust policies and programs that reach everyone, including those farthest behind. And as I already said, as we look to those things that will propel us in our growth, for example, we call them drivers of growth, as we look to a new development plan, even as the UN, as we look to a new cooperation framework, this information is going to be critical. Once again, I congratulate the government and the people of Liberia on this important milestone of concluding a successful census. I look to continuous partnership. As I told you, success breeds success. I am so confident that we are going to have a very successful and peaceful elections even after this. Thank you so much.
I want to thank the resident coordinator of the UN in Liberia. We also acknowledge the fact that she recognizes that data is extremely important in all of this process. And in order to have those kinds of data, we want to thank particularly the Embassy of Sweden, the World Bank, the Embassy of Ireland, the UC, the EU, and all of that. But most specifically, we also want to thank the collaborative effort that we had with the government of Ghana, because we branded this as the first digital census. And so we want to call up the Ghanaian ambassador in Liberia, Mr. Kwabena Appiah, to make a few comments.
Good morning to everybody. Your Excellency, Dr. Joel Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, members at the high table, colleagues, ambassadors hearing present, senior ministers hearing present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the media, all protocol observed. It is an honor to be called to make a comment, and I will put it simply this way. Census is like being a parent without knowing the number of children that you have. And as a nation, if you want to progress, you need to have a perfect demographic data that will enable you to plan. The census that Liberia is having, we have gone through recently, and it has helped Ghana a lot. I therefore congratulate all those who supported to actualize the census for the benefit and progress of the Republic of Liberia. Ghana as a neighbor is always, it is the desire of Ghana for Liberia to progress. Because when Liberia develops, it also develops Ghana. So when we were called upon to provide the support, the message was relayed to my ministry, and quickly they worked on it, and the agency reached out to the authorities of the Republic of Liberia. And today we are witnessing the results. I therefore wish you well in the course of your development, and then say good show to the organizers and all those that supported the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this point, we'll call up the rep from the Embassy of Sweden to make a comment. Okay, the Ambassador of Sweden. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very happy to represent the Swedish Embassy, Excellency, Vice President, Honorable Ministers, Representative of the House, distinguished representatives. Let me stand on the existing protocols. It's an honor for me to be here and celebrate. We need to celebrate. Congratulations, Liberia, for a high-quality census. Really well done. Really well done. But there's more to celebrate. Also, Christine, congratulations. But for me, it's also an event to celebrate and see what Liberia can do when you come together. Sweden has been part of this process in 2018. It's been a long journey. It has had quite some challenges. And I just want to say thanks for the leadership, Vice President, Minister of Foreign Finance, Liskis, UNFPA, enumerators, all staff. It has been a long journey, but now we're here. It's worth celebrating. Give your hands up. And we also need to recognize that this is a good start. This is the provisional results. But the census is so rich. It's rich of information, data, key for Liberia. And therefore, this is the start. And we need to finalize the census. It needs to be approved by both houses. And we need to use the data in development policies and partnerships for development. So we're looking forward to that very, very much. And I think I also want to say that it is important that this census is a national treasure. It's a national asset for all. And that the census can bring Liberia even closer together for joint efforts for development. So I will not be long. I will just say thank you very much for the partnership. Let's use the rich census for peace, development, and prosperity in Liberia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. At this point, we'll call up the World Bank representative here. Okay.
Your Excellency, Chief Dr. Gerald Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present here, members of the Diplomatic Corps, other fellow development partners, religious leaders and other members of the civil society, members of the media, members of the legislature present here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Let me join my colleagues in really expressing the great pleasure that we have in joining the Liberian government in celebrating the release of the provisional statistics of the population and housing census of 2022. This is indeed a major milestone because perhaps sometimes we see a census as an academic exercise, but so much turns on a census, so much that touches each and every single Liberian, each and every person, whether they were counted or not. And it is for this reason that we at the World Bank also joined other development partners and the government of Liberia in supporting this census. Development is complicated. Sometimes we think of development as only bricks and mortars. We see roads, we see schools, we see clinics. But it's also the invisible that are very critical in making it happen. Because as we've heard, unless you know what is needed, unless you're able to measure progress, unless you're able to plan, you cannot deliver development. And so it is for this reason that I really would like to congratulate the government of Liberia for having delivered a high-quality census in record time. Most of us have seen these censuses in many countries. I can say here without any contradiction, without flattering you, this is one of the best censuses that we've seen. Congratulations, Your Excellency, for your leadership. It was not easy, but you stuck it out. Minister of Finance, I recall those days, long hours, when there were teething problems, risk mismanagement. You stuck it out because you believed in it. You can be very proud for delivering for your country. Going forward, as my colleague, the Swedish ambassador said, now the work actually starts. Because yes, we have the data, but we must use it. We must analyze it more in detail, use it for planning purposes, including ourselves as development partners. We're going to use this data in our programming. We're hoping the government, other stakeholders will also do the same. And in this regard, you can count on the continued support of the World Bank, not just in analyzing this data, but in delivering development in Liberia. I thank you for your attention.
All right. Thank you, the Honorable Rep of the World Bank. We want to thank all of those who's contributed to the success of this program, including Finance and Development Planning Minister, who's been under the auspices of Her Excellency the Vice President, throughout all this process. Let's give her a bigger round of applause, and all of those who contributed to this. She's been extremely detailed throughout this process and observant, and as a result, there's been several notations and recommendations throughout this program. So as a result, we're going to be calling her, and that is not because it is a recognition of the level of efforts and all of the good works that have been done by our next speaker. I'm talking about the rep of the EU, Ambassador Laurent de la Rue, to come up and make a brief remark. Okay, thank you.
Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be very brief. I want to say bravo, Liberia. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, bravo, Liberia. You did it, and Liberia has proven once again that in difficult situations, you can come together and you can make it happen. Thanks to the leadership of your country, thanks to the dedication of your civil servants, of the government, thanks to the support of us, your friends, thanks to the genius of the Liberian people. So bravo, Liberia.
Thank you, Ambassador. We'll call up the ambassador, if we do have him, or a representative of the ambassador of Ireland.
Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, Honourable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm Simon McCormick from the Irish Embassy. I'm the Deputy Head of Mission, not the Ambassador, but I'm very happy to be here today. It's wonderful to be here to celebrate the launch of the census. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all those involved in getting us to where we are today. A huge amount of effort was made by so many people to deliver this project, from those responsible for planning and organisation, to all those who were on the doorstep in districts right across Liberia gathering data. A special thanks must go to UNFPA and LISGIS, whose tireless efforts got this project over the line. And of course we recognise Your Excellency, Madam Vice President Howard-Taylor and Honourable Minister Twea for your dedicated leadership and guidance through to successful delivery. We are grateful to all for what has been achieved and proud that we were able to partner with you on this project. Others have already remarked on why the census is so important and the impact the results can have on driving development, so I won't dwell on that for long. But I would say that from the outset, we were always aware of the urgent need to build on existing knowledge of the population of Liberia and of the benefits that this could yield in terms of delivering development gains in the coming years. The census was conducted in all 15 counties, covering all districts, towns and villages. And as a result of the information that this project has delivered, it's our hope that people in each of those districts, towns and villages will ultimately benefit from improvements in development planning and implementation. So today, we celebrate the launch of the census, but in the coming weeks, months and years, we look forward to using this new data to guide us, so that together with our partners, we may strive ever onward towards better development outcomes for people right across Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, we'll call up a rep from USAID.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, representatives of the Government of Liberia, members of the Diplomatic Corps, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I feel like it's all been said before, but I think it's worth repeating a few of these points because they are so important. I am very excited to be able to participate in the launch of this national census. A high quality and accurate census data is of critical importance to Liberian citizens. It is used to develop policies and plan future infrastructure projects. Additionally, census information helps the government prioritize support for people in need. This vital information gained from the census data will be used to ensure the provision of equitable public services for all Liberians. It is critical that all citizens know and have access to the information. It's been said that by our UNFPA colleagues, a census is one of the most difficult exercises the country undertakes. That is true. Many of our partners worked on this exercise since 2018. LISGIS, MFTP, and our development partners. I think it's also important to note that not getting recognition is the government of Ghana, so I'm very happy the ambassador came up to speak. The contribution, Ghana's contribution was in kind, not in cash, but probably was not more important than the money that some of us provided. By providing the equipment, the tablets that were used, a vital part of the census, providing them free of charge to the government of Liberia, that made all of this possible. USAID joined the dance very late. We were kind of standing, watching, wondering if this is going to work or not. It was only actually probably a few months ago that we decided to take the plunge, to give the final push to help this happen, building on all the hard work that many others had done for years and years. And so we're glad that we had the opportunity to also contribute. In that process, I noticed that others came in at the last minute when there were some very difficult periods. First of all, the Vice President, who stepped in with her leadership to kind of keep us pushing in the right direction. Julie Ende, the Crusaders of Peace, helped the final push. We talk about the lockout exercise, getting people out, instilling confidence, because a lot of people were skeptical. They didn't want to participate. But the Crusaders of Peace, the Vice President on the radio helped mobilize people, build confidence, and get the job done. I think also I'd like to applaud the efforts of Deputy Minister Wese, who also came in at the last minute, was drafted, and helped provide some very, very valuable leadership and expertise. So again, I think we all collectively, it's been said, when we work together, the government, the people, civil society, and development partners, we can do great things in Liberia, and we should build on this progress to do more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the rep from UC. We also will be calling out now the rep from the Liberia Council of Churches.
To the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Your Excellency, Chief Dr. Joe Taylor, recognizing also the Chairperson of the Board of Director of Legis, Minister of Finance, Development and Planning, Mr. Samuel Tua, the Legis Acting Director, members of the High Table, our diplomatic partners, members of the clergy, our people of Liberia and other international friends. We bring you greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You know, there is a time and a season for everything under the sun. The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 says this. You may have challenges, but there is always fight to succeed, because in life we all have challenges. And we may have challenges, but in the midst of our challenges, what is the most important thing we want to gather is that we want to be successful in the end. I want to say thank you to Liberia. Thank you to our president, the vice president, the government of Liberia, and the people of Liberia. We want to recognize also the effort, you did not call some people there, I know because you don't know. The traditional chief council of elders, they were there. The Federation of Liberian Youth, they were there. The Coalition of Political Parties Women, they were there. The Imam Council of Liberia were there. We all gathered in the disability community, were there. We all gathered together, with the facilitation of our Queen, Ambassador Julie Andy. And we came together and we said we have to help to fix this thing, and we have to promote it and make sure it works. And I want you to know that you have people behind you. The Liberia Council of Churches also was a part of it, and we went out there and we mobilized our people. We re-energized our people. We told them there can be circumstances, trials that can come your way, but let us put Liberia first. When these challenges, when the challenge happened, we also came up with a statement. We want to make this clear that, and we commended our president for taking action to be able to solve the problem that took place when we all expected to happen, what to happen on the holiday that was declared by our president. And we commend our president, and we thank the vice president also for stepping in. I know it was his approval to allow you to step in to move the process forward. I want to say thank you, all of you. But we want to say to you that Liberians, let us celebrate our forward movement. Let us congratulate ourselves as a country for the great accomplishment we have made. Our partners are hailing us. Let us celebrate ourselves. There's no time for us to look back. We have challenges, well, move forward. Before I take my seat, I want to say, peace is what we need. Peace is what we need. Let's talk peace. Let's talk over our growth. Let's talk about our growth as a country. Let's all talk about our forward movement. As a country, Liberia, we are 176. Let us move forward as a country, know that we are old. And let us try to start celebrating our success. I want to say to you that though we have challenges, but with God above, our rights to prove. As our national anthem says, we will overall prevail. God bless you. God bless all of you, and let us work together as a country, and let us move Liberia forward. Your time may come. Celebrate what you have today. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Just before we call up a rep from the National Imam Council of Liberia, we just want to announce that the Ambassador of the Republic of Ghana has asked to be excused. He needs to attend to something another very important and urgent schedule. We want to thank you for coming, Ambassador Kwabena Apia Kubi. We also want to recognize, which we didn't do earlier, the presence of the representative of District Number 9, Monserrado County, Frank Safoko. Thank you for coming as well. At this point, we'll call up the rep from the National Imam Council of Liberia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, UN Coordinator, Ministers, other dignitaries, including members of the Diplomatic Corps. We are grateful that we have arrived at this stage in our national history. We all worked under very challenging circumstances to have what we are reporting today. And I want to add to what my colleague from the Liberia Council of Churches said. For us at the National Imam Council, it was always our pleasure to work for what will benefit our people. So when we're called upon by listeners, we accepted, and through our network of imams across the country, mobilized our people and encouraged them to participate in the census process. When the challenges came, we were once again called upon by our traditional queen, Ambassador Julie Indy, and I want people to really recognize the effort she made. Because we were afraid. Had it not been the intervention of Madam Indy, I don't know what would have happened to this census. But when she called us, we were under pressure. It was very, very serious. There were complaints from all over, especially those of us in the religious community. And I would say probably most especially from the Muslim community. The pressure was great. But when she called us, we were obliged to encourage our people. And once again, we mobilized our imams. And today, we are happy to say congratulations to Liberia. So I want to thank everyone and assure all of us that the Imam Council and the Muslims of Liberia are always ready to work on what will bring us closer together and bring progress and development to our nation. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. We also want to recognize the presence of the head of the National Traditional Council, Chief Zanzan Kawa. Chief Kawa, we respect your presence. We didn't notice it earlier. We don't want to recognize that. Yeah, and I think we should just call it off at this point to make a couple of comments. Chief Kawa, will you please come up to the table?
They put it in, come and get in trouble.
Yeah, thank you. The JJ Madam Vice President, the hard tables, Council of Churches, and the Muslim Council, and all of our good people. My own mother, our sister, and the youth. My own is shocked. You know, Madam Vice President, for the thing to happen, I think we got law in the countries. All the women, all the men, all the paramount, all the elder, we go to Banga, we sign paper to suspend the Sundays for 3 years. After the thing come, Minister and Minister call me, and we sit down, we discuss, we prepare, we make paper, join paper together, we sign, we send it all over the game, based upon the letter we sign for the closure of all the week, and we send it all over. You're talking, I look at you, the way my brothers, Council of Churches say, I can't bring you up because our oral in the bush. What we do in the bush, I don't know. Everybody in the bush, where, why, we call all of them to come outside so they can check them. Because the checking of the people in the country is good. That's good development. My people, check the police, and the Google people. Opposition, all parties. You hear what happened here today? The international people who can send their money, they appreciate day. When you will sell tomorrow? The people want to help you for development to come, for you to succeed. They're telling the people who made the census, thank you. When you planning to say on the federal radio? Because the radio can cut away, they don't pay money. The small one, when they call $15, when you say something, you think the country will come to run away. So on behalf of the Council of Chiefs in Ella Waladua, Madam Julie, we tell you thank you. Muslim Council of Churches, my traditional people, my father, my brother, my sister, all the JJ police have done great job. But you're from here, Jenna, the thing when you will say here, you will leave it and talk different things. We must say the thing what happened right here. You want to be president, don't wait problem. I think the taking of the people will get you wait for you to become. But when you challenge the town way, I think the thing what you want to do, you will not do it. On behalf of the Council of Chiefs, Mara, we thank you, founder ministers, everybody who had our minister, we tell you thank you, where we are, and if they say that the temporary report, they say the other one behind come you want to cause trouble, wait for the other one. Don't fight losing battle. Let all the loud one come now, then you want to talk, you talk. But they say, John Brown, whether they need it, I'm going when you call trouble, that one there, we not where we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Kawa. Indeed, it's a temporary report. Yeah, that's the provisional result. We call up the National Rural Women Network of Liberia. Do we have a representative?
Okay, let's move on. The Federation of Liberian Youth, fly. Let's give a bigger round.
Your Excellency, Dr. Chief Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Cabinet Ministers here present, members of the High Table, other dignitaries, permit me to stand on existing protocols. I am very delighted to be a part of this historic event this afternoon. I am so happy and proud of the resilience and the participation of the Liberian youth in this census process. As the largest youth-led organization in Liberia, the Federation of Liberian Youth is committed to promoting the rights and welfare of young people of this country. We believe that the young people are the key to shaping the future of Liberia, and that investing in their education, health, and well-being is essential to building a prosperous and peaceful nation. We are proud to represent over 300 million young people across Liberia, and we are dedicated to ensuring that their voices are heard and that their needs are met. We are yet to get a percentage of young people from this provisional report, but with the increase in our overall population, we know that there has been an increase in the number of youth in our population. If that is true, the presence and challenges, as it presents a challenge, as it presents challenges and opportunity for Liberia. On the one hand, it highlights the urgent need to opportunities for young people so that they can become active and engaged citizens who contribute to growth and development of our country. On the other hand, it also underscores the tremendous potential of Liberian youth to drive the positive change and build a brighter future for themselves and their communities. As an organization that represents the interests of young people in Liberia, FLY is committed to working with the government of Liberia, civil society, and international partners to ensure that young people have access to resources, opportunities, and to support this cause. So thank you very much to the leadership of our dynamic Vice President, to all of the ministers who were involved in this process, to our international partners, to the citizens, to the youth of Liberia. Thank you for making this possible, and we are open to working and sharing this census report to the community to inform our people about the progress Liberia has made as a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President. The President of the Federation of Liberian Youth is the first female of FLY in the institution's history. So let's give her a bigger round of applause. First female president, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, too many females in class, yeah. Anyway, let's call up the representative of the National Civil Society Council of Liberia. We'll move on. I seem to have a representative here. At this point, we'll call up the Coalition of Political Party Women of Liberia.
No longer men in front and the women at the back. Together we will walk.
Indeed, this is the day the Lord has made, and we are here enjoying it and making maximum use of it. Her Excellency, Vice President of Liberia, President Joel Howard Taylor, official of government here present, the acting general, the acting director general, and members of the latest family, partner district invitees, and platform guests, all other political observers and sustained. I bring you greetings from the President of the Coalition of Political Parties Women in Liberia, Ambassador Nora Sinabondo, and the women of Kobwe. Today remains yet another great moment and experience as we announce the provisional result of the 2022 National Population Housing Census. It is an exciting moment, and we want to thank all of the key players through their contribution and role have made the conduct of this census successful. Our special thanks goes to the Vice President of Liberia for her leadership role play. The government of Liberia for the commitment and political will, the acting Director General and the latest family for the determination, dedication, and hard work towards the successful conduct of the census. We also want to recognize the tremendous support for all our partners, UNFPA, the World Bank, ECOWAS, Irish Embassy, Swedish Embassy, and the UN family, etc. To our traditional stakeholders, the folk estate, civil society groups, especially the Crusader for Peace. We want to salute you for your involvement and willingness to take on the completion of this great task beyond your respected comfort zone. Thank you once again for the support in every way, and it has been a wonderful journey and experience on this great task. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I want to say we have a rep from the Civil Society Network of Liberia. Instead of the council, we had on the Civil Society Council, so they were wondering. So let's call up the rep from the Civil Society Network. Following that, we will have a brief cultural performance before we call up the chair of the board of Legislatures, Finance Minister Samuel D. Jr.
Good afternoon. So let me stay on existing protocol. For and on behalf of the Civil Society Network of Liberia, we shall serve as the president. I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to our international partner for the contributions toward the success of the 2022 census. The traditional leaders, the religious leaders, the Muslim community, and all the youth of our country. Moreover, all civil society institutions of this country that stood with the census. It was a tough time, it was a difficult thing, but at the end of the day, we prevailed. So I just want to give it out to all Liberians. This is not about a political party. This is now about the government. It's about Liberia. So let's give it out for all of us as a Liberian. Thank you. God bless you. And we look forward to the final report come, I think, of March or April, right? Look forward to that. Thank you very much. And God bless you. And God keep all of us. Thank you.
Peace for Liberia. This is what you are, what you do and say. When elephant and leopard fight, only the grass upon the bed. Let's unite, Mama and Papa, brothers and sisters, for our children's future.
to the Crusaders for Peace for that wonderful rendition. At this point, we call up the chairman of the Board of Leges, the Board of Directors of Leges, Finance Minister Samuel D. Chue Jr.
Excellency Dr. Howard Taylor, Vice President, the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Nimeli T.H. Batikwa, Senior, Co-Chair, Senate Committee on Autonomous Agencies, Honorable Frank Safoko, Jr., Co-Chair, House Committee on Good Governance, the distinguished members of the Cabinet, the Acting DG and members of the Board of Directors of Leges, members of the Diplomatic Corps, resident coordinator of the United Nations Population Fund, my partners of many sleepless nights, newly accredited resident coordinator of the United Nations System, Christine, happy birthday to you. Good to have a birthday. Members of the National Census Steering Committee, Liberia Council of Churches, National Imam Council of Liberia, our traditional leaders, civil society organizations, youth and student organizations, members of the former state, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by first thanking God and second thanking His Excellency, Dr. George Manuel Weah, for the success of the launch of the provisional results of the first digital census in the history of Liberia. I think we should now begin to decorate President Weah as the first president of Liberia, since too many firsts appear to be happening under his presidency. Special thanks also to the National Legislature and Honorable Batikwa and Honorable Frank. Please convey our profound appreciation for your leadership. The National Legislature has been too flexible to the conduct of the census. They have had to set a date, reset a date, and then reset a date. So thanks. Let me this evening thank all of the funders of the census and others who provided important technical and other forms of support. The government of Sweden, the Irish government, the World Bank, the United States Agency for International Development, the European Union, the United Nations System through UNFPA, ECOWAS, Leges, and the government of Liberia. A humongous thanks goes to the more than 16,000 enumerators spread throughout the country for their demonstrated patience and patriotism. And finally, massive thanks to the extraordinary intervention of many stakeholders, symbolized by the intervention of Her Excellency Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, and Ambassador Judy Andy, Crusader of Peace, who brought an ambience of visibility to the census. Without President Weah's remarkable proactive leadership, without the legislators' flexibility and adaptability, without the patience and patriotism of enumerators, without the visibility engendered by Ambassador Judy Andy, and of course without the resources and expertise marshaled by the government and its development partners, we would not be sitting here today. Today we officially announce provisional results of the first digital census in the history of Liberia. The 2022 National Census, National Housing Population Census, has been gradually acclaimed as meeting the highest standard of international best practice. We are elated that the results finally are out and will now inform the design of government development planning and policy options. While these provisional results have been globally acclaimed, the road to getting here has been fraught. Significant challenges have bedeviled the conduct of the census, which should have been held in 2018 but had to be postponed for reasons germane to funding, preparedness, and other issues. More recent issues attending the census have revolved around management challenges at Leges and a collective inattention to the multifaceted dimension of the complex census process being occasioned in a highly politically fraught environment less than a year before election. Amid these challenges, the government and its partners mounted a vigorous all of society approach to the census and led to secondment of key personnel and experts and listics from across the government and to a 24-hour granular oversight of the entire process. This extraordinary cooperation across the government and with the UNFPA and partners have led to the fantastically acclaimed results that we are announcing here today. 5.2 million Liberians alive today. Let me profoundly thank all frontline stakeholders across the government and the UNFPA for their commitment to seeing the process through when the stakes were very high. Special appreciation to Her Excellency Dr. Joy Howard-Taylor for her passionate leadership on census management during the absence of the President, who was on official duty ably representing the country abroad. Special thanks to the government and the World Bank for additional funding that was required to complete the process, and the remarkable gratitude to members of the Census Steering Committee, co-chaired by the government and the resident coordinator of the United Nations system, but comprising other partners such as the government of Sweden, through its Swedish ambassador, the Irish government, the United Nations Population Fund, the European Union, UNDP, the World Bank, the United States Agency for International Development, and others. Let me also, in this manner, thank the government of Ghana for provision of more than 21,000 tablets with 21,000 power banks. This would have cost some 5.8 million in nominal terms, but the real terms is in billions. Because this is an example of South-South cooperation. And President, you're just reminding me of another South-South cooperation that's coming for election purposes. We talked about that in our first meeting. The need to talk about South-South cooperation, whether from Ghana or from South Africa. We say thank you to the people of Ghana on behalf of the President of the government of the people of Liberia, and we look forward to greater South-South cooperation in our development efforts. Let us also thank the staff at Census for coming through despite the challenges. Census has some of the most competent and trained Liberians in public service. The technical work staff at Census have been able to deliver for the census have been extraordinary. Big thanks also to the technical team led by Professor Jito Sedi and Mr. Chia Sanfa Wisse, Assistant Minister of Health, who did the presentation on the census here today. And of course, monumental thank you to Ambassador Giuliani and the Crusaders of Peace, who brought a new dimension to census visibility and communication. Shake your baby. The prodigious effort deployed by all, working together in unison and concert, illustrates the power and the possibilities that accrue from cooperation and coordination in national development. We have learned serious lessons from the challenges we face together, but I am more enlightened and inspired at the heights we can scale when we set our sights jointly on expanding the frontiers of transformation. The results from this census are indispensable toward Liberia's development efforts. They provide a basis for seminal and critical transformational work in the human development space, for example, in the coming years as we tackle Liberia's human development challenge together. The triangulation of these results with results from the recent demographic and health survey and with results from the recent National School and Education Census redounds to putting into stark relief the opportunities for transforming human capital development in Liberia. The same is true for agriculture, which has been afflicted by misreporting that appears to underreport the quantum of food being produced in Liberia. These results germane to agriculture households would link up with subsequent food and agricultural surveys critical to delivering insights into transforming Liberian agriculture. These results also shed important light on the dynamics of infrastructure planning, urban city planning, and for the national budget, which is arguably one of the biggest influencers of government development. The results are also important for planning the next 5 years of national development, which the government is currently arguing would have to be about sectors and drivers of development at a granular and macroscopic level. where development is happening. But let us all celebrate the success of this first acclaimed digital census today, even as we imagine the possibilities that the census results will drive for our national development and our common patrimony. Thank you.
Let's give a bigger round of applause, please, to the Honorable Minister for such a wonderful. We got more special remarks, and this time we'll call up the co-chair of the House Committee on Good Governance, Honorable Frank Fogo.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by saying thank you to God for blessing all of us Liberians in reaching at this very critical and beautiful junction. Let me recognize the high table, Her Excellency Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, and all other government officials here present. Ambassador Judy Andy, today when I sat back and listened to all of the recognitions of your contribution to Liberia is not a surprise to me. Your contribution to all Liberians today, I'm just very proud that Liberians have now seen you for not just being a cultural ambassador or not just being an entertainer, but also contributing to the growth and development of Liberia. We are so proud of you. Wherever we are today and wherever your late daughter, the late Representative Mona Ibelon is today, I know she's very happy that the way she talked about you and the way she saw you, many Liberians today are beginning to understand the power of your knowledge. Thank you very much. We are proud of you. We love you. Say thank you to His Excellency Dr. George Monrovia, a very resilient president, a father of this nation, a father who takes all, a father who listens very much. I say thank you for your support. And when I sat the other day and saw the vice president and the chairman of the board, when they visited Leach's office, when we had a two-man situation in the country for which there were just different interpretations from the technical aspect of the work that should have been done. And I saw her in the absence of the president going to visit Leach's office to make sure that things were put in place. We say thank you to our mother, and we say thank you to one of the most strongest men in Liberia, Honorable Samuel Tue. Samuel Tue, I wish I could have the skin that you have. I wish I could have the body that you have to withstand the pressure and criticism from people. But one thing I choose and I decide to take from your style of leadership is you always stand your ground because you believe in what you are doing. Thank you very much, and remain focused in doing people work. To our acting director who met a situation during a crisis time, Honorable Lawrence George, imagine giving you a responsibility during that time for which they were just saved from everywhere, but you were never deterred. You remain focused in accomplishing the task for the Liberian people. We say thank you for your high level of determination and continue to remain focused as you serve as the acting director in that institution. For and on behalf of the legislature, like the Minister of Finance just said, we remain focused in supporting the Liberian people because we were elected by the Liberian people to do their job. So we stand here today through the budgetary allotment. We're going to support you whatever way you expect us to support you. In as much as it has to do with the growth and development of the Liberian people, we are standing by to support you. And we want to say today to all Liberians, we hopefully will be going to voter registration very soon. We are asking all parents, all children, the young people of Liberia to stand up, to go and register, to vote. because that is our only constitutional power that God has given to us in exercising our right. And I would also like to recognize my colleague, my sister, the first female president of the young people of Liberia. Remain strong, remain focused. I stand with you and the legislature using our legislative influence in making sure that the right budgetary allotment is being made to support the young people of Liberia. So we stand by you. And again, to the Crusader for Peace, our traditional people, our Liberian Council of Churches, our religious group, that is the Muslim and the Christian, we say thank you for standing by our country. Despite our political differences, we stand as a country, and today Liberia has won. God bless our critics, and God also bless those who are making sure that the reality comes to pass. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Honorable Representative. That was Honorable Frank Safoko. At this point, we'll, just before calling up the Vice President, we'll call up the co-chair of the Senate's Committee on Autonomous Agencies and Commissions, Honorable Numani T.H. Batikwa Sr. Okay. Oh, okay, all right. So we'll actually, will you please stand, please, gentlemen? We'll call up, he ceded his position to the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, who is the President of the Senate.
Please have your seats. Today is actually a great day. And what happens when you are last is that everything has been said. So let me say in a very special way how grateful we are on behalf of His Excellency President George Monrovia, our entire government, and the people of Liberia for this exercise that has proven beyond all doubt that Liberia is important to each one of us. Congratulations for a job well done. I also want to make special mention of the Ministry of Information and LBS for stepping in to provide the platform for the information to go across the nation. We are grateful. As everyone has said, Liberia has now done a digital census. First in its kind, probably in our region, and I'm not sure if across Africa, but we have set a new bar that the digital census can be done in difficult environments. People can be given the right tools to go out and ensure that people are counted. This digital census gives us a new platform for a fingerprint of everyone in our country. That means immigration, that means security sector, that means health, education, and everything else included. I pray that our government and our partners will now begin to look at how we can synchronize all of the issues that will give each one digital footprint to be used in every area, whether it's a driver's license or voter's registration or a passport. This provides unlimited possibilities. We look forward to that. We also want to ask that the government of Liberia and our international partners begin to look at setting up the postal system. This also gives us a platform. I'm always envious when I see Amazon and other places going to Sierra Leone and Ghana and other places, and Liberia does not have a postal system. Because of this digital census, buildings have been allocated and identified on a platform. They can now be numbered so that we can join the real community of nations and begin to do much more than we even experience. I just want to note two things that Honorable George said. The population of the men, 50.4%. The population of the females, 49.6%. We need to step it up, 50-50. So that it's side by side, strong figures. You know, before we keep talking, oh, we are 50%, we are not this. You know, this gives us real proof of where we are. Again, I always say when I speak that Bond County is the third largest population. I now have statistics to back that. So I want to thank everyone, our international partners, our president who's headed this whole process, our government officials, our friends, all of the traditional leaders across our nation, the women, the young people who went in the field to make sure we got the numbers. This is a good day and I'm happy. Congratulations to everyone. Congratulations.
And the women at the back, together we will walk. Sabasa, sabasa.
Sabasa, we need to step it up.
Yes.
The stepping up process is good. Anyway, at this point we'll call up, but before then I just wanted to make two quick announcements. One is that I'm being told we got snacks in the back, so before you leave, you can go and get your snacks, but also that you need to go up front for a photo shoot. So those are the two things, kind of confusing, but maybe you can decide as you do it. At this point, we'll call up the Imam to do the benediction.
Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, all praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the worlds. We thank Him for all He has done for our nation. As a people, we are grateful. We pray that He will continue to guide us and help us as we work together to build our nation. We pray for our international partners, that God will bless them and make them to continue to identify the state of Liberia as we proceed towards national development. May God carry us home peacefully and continue to bless us. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you.
Yeah, the food is in the back, the photo shoot is in the front, but we will please be seated as we, observe the hard table leave first before we can do that ourselves.
Please remain in your seats.
Please remain in your seats.
Still time to figure out how to chase my blues away.